I had a guy calling me on vacation with his wife in the bedroom whispering, saying, I'm here with my wife and I don't know what to do. Yeah. He didn't know because it'd been all about the kids. When our children leave the house, this is what men don't understand. And if men understood this in the bubble, then when they get out of the bubble, they won't be estranged from their kids. The script flips when your kids leave the house.
For 9 out of 10 guys, that's the issue.
Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. I'm Jim Ramos, your guide and host of Spotify's #1 podcast for Christian men and top 5 on iTunes. We are all about leading you to your best version of Christ in the stress bubble of life and beyond. This is today's Average Joe episode, but make no mistake about it. The guys we interview here are not average by any stretch. They're just guys in my community who I know and love and I'm doing life with, and we're just having coffee together and hanging out, and I'm really excited today. This is my brother, Shaun Strong. Shaun and I have been doing ministry in this town for 23 years. We started off as youth pastors together. He became a church planter. I launched Men in the Arena. We are now in the same home group together. We serve with Young Life on different capacities, but we serve together. This is my brother right here. Now, I outweigh him by about 100 pounds, but I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this to him many times. If I were in a dark alley, was in a fight with a bunch of gangsters, he would be at my back because this guy is vicious, he's fierce, he's a dear friend. He also, besides being a full-time pastor of his own church, he also leads a bunch of wild middle schoolers with Young Life's Wildlife program. And he and his wife are in our home group, and he is a dear brother. And it's great to have you on the show. We haven't seen each other all summer.
It's been a while. Summer gets a little busy.
So this half-an-hour interview thing is going to suck because I know who you are.
We're catching up for 30 minutes, and then we'll get to the rest of it.
100%, man. So just tell me, you've got kids, a sophomore in college. I just saw your beautiful daughter in Starbucks yesterday, the senior. I saw her with her friends, and you've got all the way down to 7th grade?
I got an 8th grader.
So, bro,
I'm the crier in the family.
Wait, you have 8th grade boy. How old's your next daughter?
So I got 8th grade, I got freshman, and I got a senior,
freshman?
And then I just dropped off a sophomore. Well, and we talked, and this is kind of where I want to go with this conversation is that second half of life. And by second half...
You're 50.
Are we filming this?
Yeah, you're 50.
If I tell people I'm 50, is that going to stay in this room?
I already told them you're 50.
Then I got a late start, in fairness. My first one came at 31, so I've got them stacked about every 2 years. And just dropped off that sophomore. And you and I spent a little time just talking about what that's like. I feel like going into that freshman year, they've soiled the nest, they're kind of ready to get out of the house, and you're kind of ready to let them go fly a little bit. That sophomore year is a different story. And having him around all summer, getting to hear his faith journey, getting to see what God's doing in his life. He's a question asker. Yep. That was fun. He's an advice taker. That was real fun. And we just got to spend some time at a deeper level in conversation that felt more like peers than it did sitting there.
It changes.
It changes so much.
Well, I'll say this. These are things I've already told you. For you and Emily, parenting just seems to be so natural. You guys are such great parents. I mean, we're great parents too, but but for you, it just seems so natural. Like it just flows. You guys flow as parents, and so when those kids leave, there's a gap there. But the problem when you're a good parent is it hurts more when your kids leave.
And this is kind of where I wanted to go with this, Jim. And you know this through our journey. I've come to you quite often because you're just one step ahead of me.
Yep.
You raised 3 great boys. A couple of them are in marriages now. Another one's kind of flirting with relationships. And I've got to be a part of that journey. So in fairness, coming to you with this second half idea, it dawned on me, and even just talking about being a dad, that's probably my favorite title, if I'm being honest. I love husband. Husband's my first. Dad is my second. And and by second half of life, I mean, all of a sudden they're gone.
Yeah, you start empty nesting. It's an empty nest.
And you're learning to love your wife again, and you're finding out what you enjoy. And that's a tricky one for me. I don't have hobbies. My kids are my life, and my title is dad, and most everything I do is based on that one paradigm.
Well, bro, between coaching football, raising your kids, loving your bride, serving in wildlife, I know you get paid, but it's basically a volunteer position. And what you're doing with the pastor in a church, I don't know how you survive. I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Well, and again, this is what's looming over me right now. Maybe there's
Yeah.
other guys out there kind of feeling this tension where you got this window, you're kind of in a sweet spot.
Yes.
Even being a dad of high schoolers and middle schoolers and elementary students, if you want the opportunities, affords you some great chances to be able to pour into that next generation. And I think anybody that sees life that way realizes it's a short window and it is a privilege and it goes fast. And then at some point, there's that, at least for me, that, oh my gosh, what happens next? What happens
Well, I'll
next?
tell you what I've learned. I mean, this is just a guy that's a few years ahead of you. For Shanna and I've seen a lot of marriages fail at this. You are great parents. I mean, I can't tell you that, but you guys did something that makes you great. You did not make your children the center of your world. You made Jesus the center, and you made your marriage next. Your kids were third tier. They're third tier, but honestly, that's pretty impressive in what you did. And so what you've done with you and your bride is you guys still have that connection. A lot of couples, and Shannon and I did this, we have a high maintenance marriage. I mean, you know this. And so for us, we've always had to work on our marriage. So when our kids left, we had been working on our marriage for 25 years. But a lot of couples, and they make the kids the center of the relationship of the family unit, and the kids finally leave, the marriages struggle. In fact, several of our dear friends, Christian families, divorced because they did not. I had a guy calling me on vacation with his wife in the bedroom whispering, saying, I'm here with my wife and I don't know what to do. I'm like, make love to her, bro. I mean, he didn't know because it had been all about the kids.
Yeah.
Another guy said he was afraid of his kids, his wife, because the kids were gone, his timid little wife. So I think that's the first thing you're doing really well.
Well, and I think in fairness, we tiptoe around some of this. And I think social media is responsible for it. I head out on a vacation with my wife. You're going to see the one picture we took that makes it look like it was sparkly
Everything's
and
perfect.
twinkly the whole time. And we might have spent that time just relearning who we love. Because in fairness, there's a reason 4 kids come when we're in our 20s and 30s, because the time is available. And you get to that season I'm in and sort of transitioning through, and even carving out time to have that intimacy, including the conversation our wives need just to set the foundation for that intimacy. I mean, I know there's guys listening that can relate to the simple fact it is 11 o'clock, and we got 2 kids that aren't home yet, and it's been a long week, and we desperately need to come together. But we have no idea when they're walking through the door, and quite frankly, can't take our minds off of the fact they're not home yet.
So that's a different intimacy. So in that intimacy,
I'm talking about sex,
My
Jim.
wife's the same way. I'm like, that's what I was saying. My wife's the same way. Women can't get out. They everything's like spaghetti to them in their brains. So unless they can separate certain things, they can't focus on the lovemaking, that sexual, physical intimacy. And when the kids they're gone, it does change things.
And in fairness, if we don't just put this on the table and just recognize one with another, it is a struggle. When the Bible talks about a fight and it talks about a race, that's one of them. It is the fight to continue that, and so that it continues into that second half. And quite honestly, gets better.
This whole multiple partners garbage, such a lie. One woman, all your life. My wife, I've married to 20 different versions of her. I've had the mom having kids version. I've had the mom before kids, a single, dating version. I've had the mom perimenopause, menopause, I've had every version. I've had every couple days during the month. She changes during the month. I mean,
it's exciting.
It's really cool. I mean, honestly, being with her, man, and there's no shame, there's no embarrassment, there's no performance anxiety, there's none of these things. Being with the same woman. So I think any guy who's getting ready to launch his kids, you've got one launched, one getting ready to launch. You got 2. I'm like, make Emily, man, make her the center of that marriage, as you have. I'm not telling you what to do because I know you're already doing it. So that when the kids do leave, there's no transition. It's just, now you just get to run around the house naked without anybody there worrying about kids running in the store. Well, okay, let's talk about, you mentioned your kids.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about...
Well, and here's some things I think you and I have in common, and to kind of stay on point. Number one, I know both you and I know that time is short, and the time we have, we want to take as many with us as we can to the kingdom. And that is why 100%. We're created. And so we get these different spheres of influence.
Yes.
And you and I started the youth ministry journey together and competed for students and numbers and did the whole thing. And I remember back then your house was packed. with your buddy, with your son's friends and all their extended friends. And it was that sweet spot
Yeah.
where beyond just youth ministry, you were living life with them.
Yes.
And I'm getting to the tail end of that sweet spot. And then watched you decide, you know what, the Lord's calling me to men in the arena.
Yeah.
Whole different focus, and then begin to affirm those new gifts and that new passion in an area that obviously has been anointed and affirmed and just growing exponentially ever since. And that's kind of what's been hanging over me.
Yeah.
I'm still in that sweet spot. I'm going to take as many with me as I can. Will I have the time and have the ability and have the privilege?
Yeah.
I think that's a piece you and I both recognize. It is a great privilege
It
each
is
of
an
these
honor,
seasons
for
of
sure.
life.
Yep.
And this is now the next season, that second half kind of begins to hang over me with excitement and also some mourning and grieving. I'm anticipating and yet aching at the same time, if that makes sense.
Well, you know what's interesting? You made a comment earlier about your boy going to, is he at University of? No, yeah,
he's at University of Montana right now. And I'll tell you, God's on the move there.
Oh, all across college campuses. I've shared with you
Be
before.
encouraged if you're listening. God's doing a big work in that generation.
And I've shared with you that we chaplain for the local university, and they
You
had a
just
barbecue,
baptized 15.
and they baptized 15 of their own players, which is pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah.
So, but what I learned, this is something really interesting, and you alluded to it already. Like, as your boy goes into his sophomore year, there's a transition that happens relationally, and I want guys to understand this. So for the first 18 years of his life, you created and you managed the narrative, right? If you want to live under my house, you're going to live under my rules. And I know that you're not a rules guy, you're a relationship guy, but you have rules, and this is how our family lives. We serve the Lord, and there are rules. But when our children leave the house, this is what men don't understand. And if men understood this in the bubble, then when they get out of the bubble, they won't be estranged from their kids. The script flips when your kids leave the house, and you go from parent to basically a friend and advisor, and your kids choose the narrative. They choose you or not. And bro, you and I have talked to many, many men weeping in their 50s and 60s because their kids did not choose them because dad was either not emotionally available, or he was not physically available, or he was a authoritative leader, and they said, I don't need this. And bro, are you experiencing that at all at this point? Like the transition of narrative?
Yes, at the I feel blessed level. Yeah, having my son and sitting on the back porch and hearing his heart and talking to him no different than I would talk to you. And now I'm just an accountability partner.
Yeah, but it's like a friend.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, my kids are like that too. There's a script that flips, and they're like, I like you, Dad. And I'll be honest with you, bro, I'm tearing up too.
Yeah.
Because for our kids to choose us, honestly, bro, it's the greatest accomplishment of my life. Forget the papers and the documents and the following and the podcast and the book, best-selling books. My kids and my wife choosing me is what it's all about.
When we all know if we can't do it in our families, we don't belong to it anywhere else. And so I'm keenly aware of that and take that real serious.
Well, isn't that a message to our businessmen out there? Like, it doesn't matter how good you are in the boardroom. If you can't get it done in the bedroom, if your wife doesn't want you, if your children, if you can't get it in the kitchen, in the living room, man, you're a failing. For your priority has to be God, wife, kids, in that order. And if you're not, Lee Iacocca said this back in the 80s. He said, "I never heard a dying man say on his deathbed, I wish I spent more time at the office."
When to the guy out there, maybe they're wrestling with this and struggling with this, I would say this. I don't think either you or I are special by any means.
Nope.
We don't have any unique gifts. But I know you well enough, and you know me well enough to know that I prayed like crazy.
Oh,
I knew I didn't have
every
what it
day.
takes.
Still.
Yep. I knew I didn't have what it takes. I knew apart from God's leading, I was not capable of shepherding my kids.
Yep.
I have no problem saying that. I have no problem admitting I am not enough. So if you're a guy out there and maybe you're listening and just wondering, man, what sets some of those dads apart? I would tell you, I believe my prayer life. I firmly believe that. It has nothing to do with any special gifts or skills. Put it before God. Ask Him for help. Ask Him for the keys to your kids' hearts. And ask Him to help you shepherd them well.
Yeah, you and I and Emily and you are from Christian homes, right? Was she born and raised Christian?
Yes.
So were you?
I would call ourselves the Easter Christian kind of family. And in fairness, this is an interesting conversation too. My youngest sister was born with what's called Rets.
Yes.
We'd probably call that on the autism spectrum now. We would probably use the word severely impacted. But in all fairness, churches just weren't equipped yet for that. And so church was not a safe place for my entire family.
Yeah.
So in fairness, yeah, we were white, and sorry if that sounds derogatory, but we were Americans, we were middle class, we had decent moral values, and we liked education. So we were Christians.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
I would say for me, and sorry if that sounded derogatory, but I think it's true of a lot of people. I checked the boxes, therefore I am.
I voted for this person. I have a house this size. I own a gun. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
What?
For me, my personal relationship with Jesus started about age 21 when I was at Linfield.
Okay.
Which is great, I think, for me. That was my owning place. And I think even just coming to terms at that point with my own inadequacy is part of what shaped my prayer journey. I think that was one of the things Jesus showed me early on, is I am just fully unequipped.
Well, I'm sorry.
Highly capable of train wrecking my life. I've done it before.
My wife and I are from non-Christian backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to figure it out on our own. And we struggled. I mean, I wouldn't say struggled. We were very passionate about Jesus. And this is the 90s, so it was like black and white. You listen to non-Christian music, you're in trouble. You drink, you're in trouble. It was very legalistic.
Don't watch this. Don't listen to that.
Don't drink, don't smoke, don't chew, and don't hang out with people who do.
Yeah.
And but that changed as we matured in our faith. But what freed me up as a young parent, I probably had kids. They were probably 1, 3, and 5. I went to a parenting seminar with a psychologist in our church, and he said, "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough." And that really empowered me. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough and put in your best effort. And then when you fail, you're on a journey with your family,
I don't even dare say present.
Yeah, 100%.
For 9 out of 10 guys, that's the issue.
Show up.
Be present. Be their biggest fan. Cheer the loudest. Be their biggest supporter.
If I don't show up for something, or if you don't show up, they're shocked, because we show up so often it's almost boring.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah, you are that guy.
Yeah.
And so, the tricky part as our kids transition is how, we need to show up now for the grandchildren. We need to be careful. We need to be careful how we show up to our adult children, because now they run the narrative. We don't. We can't just show up. Like my son's watched a college football last Saturday, and I called my oldest. I said, "Hey, Mom and I are kind of bored, and we don't have cable. We don't have can we come down? Yeah, Dad, can you bring a charcuterie board? Yeah, I'd love to, man." So we supplied the food.
Yeah.
But the narrative shifted, and I've acknowledged that. But we want to show up with wisdom, right? Our granddaughter's playing soccer. Hey, does she need cleats? Can we do anything?
And some vulnerability and fairness.
Well, that's exactly what it is, right?
To ask your own son.
Because you're asking for permission.
That's a pretty vulnerable place.
Right? Because it's not my narrative anymore. This has been hard. This has been hard for us because we were good parents who showed up. And now, in fact, I've got my sons coming on the podcast in the next 2 weeks. They're going to be on. All 3 boys are coming on one at a time.
Come on.
To talk about my failures and successes. It's going to really.
Do you want me to go through any of them?
No,
Are we good?
You
don't have enough time.
You can just save it to later. But the waters are to navigate, and your firstborn is your son.
Yeah.
But your second one is your daughter.
Oh, buddy.
And that's a whole different ship.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. Well, and you realize, in fact, I was talking to one of the guys in our small group, PJ McManus.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of our kids is one friend away from a U-turn.
Disaster.
Yeah.
From disaster.
And that's the prayer piece. And those are the things beyond our control that I think through God's grace, you and I recognize. I don't get to control that. I'm son at U of M in Montana right now. I don't see any of his day. And you're one friend away from just one professor away.
Oh,
one coach
one professor away.
Yeah.
One untruth believed.
Yeah.
Well, and your kids, like your son's a super handsome dude. They must all look like your wife because
they all got her looks.
Well,
Praise
your
God.
daughter, I was in a meeting, Young Life meeting yesterday, and she walked in with her friends, and then you had posted a picture of her senior pictures. I'm like, dude, you're in trouble.
Oh, buddy.
Somebody's got to hit her with an ugly branch fast because she's a cute girl. But you raise them right, though.
Yeah.
You raise them right.
Beautiful inside.
You raise them
now.
right, and her picker is not broken, and she has standards. She's okay. But I mean, that's a whole different transition when you're launching a daughter.
We had talked about that grandkid piece, and of course, we're getting closer.
Yeah.
But I've watched you navigate this, and of course, several friends now that are in that season. And it just dawns on me, and I can look at this with great anticipation. There are a bunch of little people I haven't met yet. They're going to steal my heart in ways well, and let's be fair. You and I have talked about this before. When that first one came,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd known them for 10 seconds, and they're in my arms, already something is lit up inside of you.
Yeah.
That understands the heart of God when he says, number one, I will never leave you nor
Yep.
forsake you. Number two, I laid down my life for yours. You're crying in my arms. I've known you 10 seconds other than the wiggling in your mom's belly. And I would die for you without having to pray for it.
It changes that fast.
In a heartbeat. And I think that's the fun thing about the journey. If we let our kids, they teach us more about the love of God, the grace of God, the forbearance and mercy of God. And that to me is really what that first half's about. That is God's gift back to the parents.
Yep.
If we let him.
Yeah.
And that second half, now we're looking for other ways to. I know you and we've talked about retirement before. That's not on my radar.
No, retire.
I think that's a silly word.
Retire.
I think as long as I
can't find that verse anywhere.
As long as I got breath in my lung and life in my
100%.
days, I want to keep on
And if
going.
somebody's going to listen to my message, I'm going to keep speaking. You know, it's interesting. You talk about children being born. For me, man, I've got 2 grandchildren, and when the first one was a granddaughter, and my princess, I call her and she actually has a sign in her room that says the princess. I'm like,
I watched
gave
you
you that
drip
name.
and sweat at the father-daughter ball.
I gave you that name.
She owns you.
Oh yeah, she's such a. Oh my gosh.
Well, and we've talked about that idea of living vicariously through our kids, and I think coaching. I remember starting early years, reffing, coaching, doing all the stuff without kids. Thought, man, I never want to be that parent. And then somewhere out of the blue, you realize, oh crud, I am that parent.
Yeah.
And I'm living vicariously. But that being said, watching my son's faith journey now, that I can honestly say, I love living vicariously. And by that I mean watching just the fruits of, let's be honest, the labor.
Yeah.
It's tough to raise kids, and being present is tough. And it takes a lot of effort, kind of leaving it all on the field by the time they're 18 and sending them out. And then to get to be asked back into that journey.
Well, you said living vicariously, but earlier you said be a coach and advisor. A coach and an advisor is a person who lives vicariously through the person they're coaching and advising.
Yeah.
So what we do is we step back in a healthy way to live vicariously. We help them win, we raise them to win, and then as they win, we celebrate that with, right? It's like when you win in your ministry, I win with you because we're brothers, right? We want each other to win. Same thing with our kids. We want each other to win. We want them to win. We want them to succeed. We are their biggest fans. And there's a vicarious nature to that. But that nature, the key I want to drive home is that vicarious nature, that coaching, that advising, it only happens once we shift the narrative and we realize it's shifted. Because if we don't realize it's shifted, we're still authoritative. We're, because I said so, you're in my home, and we're never going to have the joy. I just read this morning in my Bible study, my personal study, Philippians 1, 3-4. I thank God every time I remember you in all my prayers of every kind with joy. And I thought, man, Paul didn't pray. He prayed for nothing. And I thought, I want people to pray for nothing when they think of me. I want them just to be thankful and have joy when they think of me. And when I think of my kids, I want to go, man, Kellen, that kid's rad. That's Shaun's kid, not mine. But you want to think, man, you want joy to be the first thing that comes out of how pleased you are with the, you know what I mean? So it's tough when they're in college.
It's tough. Well, and that's that second half.
But tough in the 20s, I should say. Doesn't matter college or not.
Navigating relationships.
Yeah.
And navigating college, navigating jobs, navigating apartments. I mean, this is now my start of my second half, and this conversation is going to be far from over. I see us continuing this as the journey continues.
I know your kids, they're all different. I think this second one of yours, she's a spunky thing, man. She's
both my daughters got some grit.
Yeah, they do, which is a good thing, but you just got to, it takes a little bit more navigating, because if you just one little push the wrong way and you got to send them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my oldest is mine are all gritty, but my oldest is the gritty, that kind of grit. And you got to be really careful because they're also very sensitive. So, Well, bro, it's always, I mean, we only have we're probably overtime already.
Did we even get caught up? I can't remember.
No, we need to do that later. But it's great to have you
Yeah.
here, man. Man, I love you. You're my brother. We don't look alike at all, but we are brothers, and I appreciate it. Good seeing you, man. I'm kind of glad we waited this long because the summer's over and we're hitting it hard. So
Yeah, looking forward to it. We got a busy year coming up. So
we do, man. So
be encouraged, man. If you're out there and you're a dad, be encouraged. It is a privilege. Stay the course.
Sure is. Hey, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode with my good friend, Shaun Strong. And remember, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. Raise those kids well. And be a man.